make deals. Base hit to right field. Here comes Richardson. Here's the throw from Marquez. Richardson is safe. Derek Jeter ends his final game with a walk-off single. Derek Jeter, where fantasy becomes reality. Did you have any doubt?
That is absolutely clobbered. Good gosh, where is that going to land? Oh my, what a bomb from Aaron Judge. Testing the limits of Safeco Field with home run number 31.
Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Bronx Muchachos podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and we have today with us Danny.
Here.
We got Dave.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back and joining us.
And we got Alex.
Howdy.
Boys, how was the week for everybody?
Stressful, but getting back into the groove of things slowly. So can't complain. I'm still breathing, so that's a plus.
Hey, I saw the newest episode of Boba Fett, and you know what? That episode was great. So
Please do not ruin it for me. Please do not ruin it for me.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm a grown man.
Alex, please don't. Dave and I are like,
Yes,
we're behind the eight ball.
Please don't.
I heard Manny, our great producer, talk about something very specific in the episode, and I was like, stop. You know, this is a hard stop point. No more about
May
it.
or may
No
not
more,
be lying.
please.
I'm just saying.
I've been too busy.
There's a couple of big things that happened in that episode. I mean, you gotta jump in. You gotta watch it. You're getting to that point where it's no more spoiler.
Listen, I've been too busy catching up on movies that I haven't seen. I bought No Time to Die. Saw that. It was all right. And then Halloween Kills. They're going to be making another one. Like, why did no one ever think to just cut Mike Myers' head off? Like, anyone ever think of that?
Well, shooting him in the eyes in the first ever
him.
one, they didn't stop him from not seeing anymore.
Yeah, off with the head, man. That's it.
But hasn't he got his sister already? Come on. Just kill his sister already. That's all he has to do. And then he's happy.
Burn the house down. Do something. I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
They tried
There
everything.
wouldn't be any more movies.
Maybe they got to do that. Who's saying there wouldn't be any more movies if you chopped his head off? That's kind of like the easy
There's
part.
like 15 of them, so come on, enough is enough. But whatever.
Oh, come on, more. You always gotta have a reboot, man. Always gotta keep rebooting this whole thing. It's a moneymaker, man. Come on, it's like it's like Friday the 13th or what's its face or Freddy Krueger. All those movies, they just keep going over on and on and on.
I mean, reboot like as in like maybe rebooting the CBA.
Exactly. With the CBA right now, and all the talks that have been going on, we got stuff going on this week from the CBA. That's the most important thing that's happened this week so far. So the union and the owners, they've met twice, Monday and Tuesday, and they started giving off a little bit proposals. They started matching and they started giving out money numbers and whatnot. So here's some of the things that happened with the proposal. The union proposed a minimum salary for the players at $775,000, I believe it was, and then the owners, said that they would go to $615,000 per player, and that the young players pre-arbitration players would get a bump in salary, and both sides agreed on that. However, the owners withdrew the offer to change the arbitration structure, so they will still have after a certain amount of years, for I think 3 years, 3 through 5, they'll have everyone going before a judge, and the owners will say how bad the player did and how they shouldn't deserve the money, while the owner and their agent will say how great they are. So, certain things will happen along the way that haven't changed.
I've never understood that.
That's why the Yankees almost lost Bernie Williams, and that's why we lost Dylan Betances, because the Yankees turned around and just smoked them in a courtroom, and they didn't like what was going on.
It's like, we love you, but then we're going to turn around and talk trash about you to a judge, and then end up paying you anyway. It just, I don't get it, man. It just makes no sense.
It doesn't. And then also the union proposed and the owners accepted the parameters for a pre-arbitration bonus pool for anybody for the players who have the top 30 WAR. So like if you were in the top 30, I guess with anything with WAR, then you start getting more money along the way. In that area, the union was seeking like a pool of like $105 million while while the owners only offered 10. These guys, I swear to you. The union for luxury tax, the union wants in 2022, they want the luxury tax, aka the salary cap, to be at 245 million and goes up to 273 million by 2026. It seems like the owners are very amenable to that, because one of the stipulations they put in there, that if you go over the threshold, that the owners want to have international pool money forfeiture for teams that exceed those thresholds. And of course, it wouldn't be anything good until you hear that the owners yet again don't have a problem losing regular season games. So I give it to everybody here. Dave, you were the first one jumping in on the owners' atrocities and stupidity and chicanery. Why don't you let everybody know what's up?
I just don't get the mentality of the owners being okay with losing games. Like, you're coming off a shortened 2020 season. You had very limited capacity in the stadiums for 2021. And now you are trying to shoot yourself in the foot again with all of this. Like, I just don't understand it. It's great that they were able to come to an agreement with the salary cap. I'm just going to call it for what it is, because that's how the Yankees are treating this, particularly. I don't know about the rest of the league. But, 243, and then it goes up to 275. That's great. It allows the Yankees to spend money where they need to. It also allows them to extend Judge like they should. So, yeah, I think this is going in the right direction. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, so I'm kind of of the thought that I just wanted it to be over with. I want this whole process to be all the semantics of it all, the going back and forth, the negotiations. I just want to see where the dust settles, because whatever the players union lets out, whatever the owners let out, it's only a fraction of what's being talked about. So I'm curious to see where the dust is going to settle. So far, the progress that has been made in terms of what the players want, them dropping, I think, the free agent stuff that they were talking about, like with the age requirements, like, okay, that's cool. I just want to see where the dust settles, and I want to watch baseball. I don't care about any of this other stuff.
And the other thing I forgot to say too is, I think it's a good idea that the teams get their international signing money taken away, because right now, that's where all your talent is coming from, is the international signing money, is where all these top generational prospects are coming from. Let's be honest, draft picks don't mean really anything in MLB like it does in the NHL and the NFL. You're not getting a major league ready player out of the draft. You're getting, again, a prospect, a hopeful coming out of college or high school that you hope to God meets expectations and performs. Some do, some don't, but I would love to see the draft pick compensation go bye-bye, and I'm okay with definitely the international signing money being diverted to other teams from teams that go over the cap. So I'm in agreement with that 100%.
Yeah, I'm also in agreement with that, because, like, let's be real, MLB is starting to look more the way they're trying to get their prospects. It's looking more like international soccer than it is looking like like a U.S. sport. That, okay, we're trying to, like, use the draft to draft either high school, college students into their equal sports. But for MLB, they're looking like almost like international soccer, where, okay, I'm going to go to Brazil and I'm going to get the best Brazilian person into my team for my club and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's ridiculous. But they need to do something so that way it's more money for everybody else.
Now, I hear what you're saying. But I still think that between the draft and with the international guys, there is an absolute pipeline that can come in. I think the part of it all that really stinks is that MLB turned around and years ago said that the Puerto Rican players have to be subjected to the draft. They can't be into the international pool. But I still think that I think this luxury tax is ridiculous. No matter what, there shouldn't be a luxury tax. Why are you going to cap out what somebody can make when the rest of us here can go out on the open market in all of our respective jobs, and we can demand a certain amount of money. We can start having we can barter to make sure to get ourselves better pay. Why are they topped out at a certain amount of money? Why is it?
The only league that should be complaining about being underpaid in a luxury salary cap is the NHL. Those guys are signing 5 to 7 year deals for $17 million. Like, yeah, if anyone has a right to complain, it's the NHL.
Well, the MLS also they have dirt poor players too. I mean, those guys.
Oh God, that's ridiculous.
That's a full-on salary cap league, and then they have the Beckham rule, or the designated player, where only 2 people or 3 people on your team can make a hell of triple the amount of everybody else, and you got those guys are usually like 35-year-olds that are coming over from Europe that they go, you know what, we're done, we're not at the top level over there anymore, but we can come over here and dominate everybody else, and that's all they care about.
Way. NBA is the same way. I believe in the NBA, you can only have 2 or 3 players per team with max contracts.
But think about it, when you become an old NBA player, all you gotta do is if you become a washed up NBA player, realistically, you're good over here in the States, you could go to Europe then. So it's just going over the other way of the pond.
For sure.
No, I agree, but one of the big things that the owners are still doing is that they're trying to cap out what you can make, but then they still are trying to fight paying the younger guys. No matter what, they're trying to slam everybody on both ends of the stick. They're trying to make sure that you don't get paid coming in, which every other league the rookies are getting paid millions when they first jump in. Then you turn around when you establish yourself, you can't even get paid anymore there, because now they're trying to say that we're gonna salary cap you on that side too.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating. I feel like the middlemen in baseball kind of get the short end of the stick. Because obviously, if you're a top-end draft pick, you're getting millions off the bat. But that's probably the only exception when you're coming in. Like, if you're a low-round draft pick, like, say, 20th round and below, you're not getting much money. You're getting, low 6 figures or maybe even 5 figures at that point. So the money really isn't there to start off with. But even then, you want to, as a minor leaguer, as a guy that's, kind of like that quadruple A player, you want to still be able to make that money. You want to be able to provide for your family. So I'm interested to see how this will affect the middle tier players. And I had another thought too. When we had Eli on, he talked about the international draft and how that's a strong possibility. So shameless plug alert. If you haven't listened to that episode, listen to it. It was great with Eli. But I see what he was saying about certain aspects where it's negative and how it affects the kids. However, as a Yankees fan and as the Yankees organization, I don't want an international draft. I want to spend as much money as possible to keep getting the top international players. Like in next year's potential class, it's Brandon Manaya. I hope I'm not destroying that name.
Brandon Maia.
Brandon Maia. Yeah. Right. So he's a center fielder. Mark could probably tell you a little bit more about him, but he's the top guy in that class. And if there's an international draft, then that kind of goes out the window. And how do the Yankees stay competitive in that market? If the Yankees are going to keep winning and they're going to get low draft picks plus low international draft picks, it seems to work against us.
Well, in regards to the international draft possibility, from people I've listened to, like Ben Badler and a few other people who've not come on ours, obviously, but who've talked about it, it's not going to be set up the same way that the U.S. draft is. So it's not. So say Texas Rangers, right? Texas Rangers were the worst team. They get the number 1 pick here in the U.S. draft. They're not going to get the number 1 pick in the international draft either. It's going to be, say, year one it'll be the AL East teams, and I think you go down the list. I think I don't know how the order will be, but Yankees, Red Sox, whatever down, Rays, Toronto, Baltimore, like that, and then you move forward. And then after that year, the next year, the AL East will be on the bottom. They won't, they picked the 5 last time. Personally, I think that also it's not going to be, if there is a draft, it's not going to be implemented right away. It's going to be like a buffer zone. So you'll have, so the next year they'll have the old rules, and then everyone will get acclimated, because as Eli told us before, these deals have been in place for a year to 2 years in advance. So Brandon Maia is Cuban center fielder. He's been working out in the Dominican Republic at the Yankees facility in Boca Chica. I've heard stories that he's going to get upwards of $5 million already. And this is when we're already a year out, and those stories are coming out. Like, center fielder, sweet swing, not as powerful as Dominguez, but has more power than Arias. If you want to rank the 3 of them, it's supposed to be ranked. Dominguez has got the top, if all of his tools hit, he's got everything that can hit. And then Maia is second, and then Arias is third. And all 3 of them could be exceptional players if all the tools hit. If all those 5 tools hit, they will be all exceptional players. Even though Dominguez is kind of looking like he's going to move over to corner outfield.
Bro, what are they going to do with all these prospects? What are they going to do with Volpe, Cabrera, Peraza, Arias, Dominguez, this kid Maia, if he signs, Sweeney?
Trade them.
What are you going to do?
Look at all the other holes this team has. Look at all the holes that they have. Guess what? A Peraza can help get you an Olsen, right? A Gil or Medina can help get you a Castillo. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna have to get used. You can't, obviously, on a 26-man roster and a 40-man roster in totality, you can't keep everybody. You can't keep. You know what I mean?
I wish they would just play with a 40-man roster all year long. No, awesome.
Would be, but you know exactly what won't happen. The old white owners aren't going to go for that. It sounds racist, but they won't go for that. They will never go for that. There's so much money that they claim, big quotes, that they're going to lose. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
Well, if we look at the roster,
billionaires are going to become all millionaires.
You got 53 guys on a football team.
You
got 53 guys on a football team. You get 40 guys on a baseball team. Come on, get real. But it's okay when
but what's the salary cap in football?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I don't know, what, like 150 million, 290. It's not 200 million. Like 180 million, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's go. This is above 150 and below 200, right? But every team has parity that they all wind up going into that area. You have baseball. You have the Rays that go $60-something million. You have the now called Guardians. I think they were at 30 million. The Marlins were at 40 million. I mean, you have the bottom rung there, and then you got, the Dodgers spent, I think last year, what did the Dodgers do, like 260 or something like that? 260, 265.
Yeah, they were almost at 300 million.
Yeah, the Mets this year, they're going up. They're gonna be at 260, 270. The Yankees have to sign somebody, and they're going to be over. They're already at the 210 luxury tax line. They're going to be at they're going to be all the way up there. The next one too. That's without making any trades at all. So
Danny just said the NFL's luxury tax is $208 million. Shout out to our awesome producer doing his thing behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's one thing we never did. We've never given Manny props on this whole thing. But thank you, Manny.
MVP.
Yeah, I mean, the CBA talk and all this crap. The owners are still going to try to stick it to the players at all time. They're going to make sure that the young players don't get paid. They're going to make sure the old players don't get paid. And they're still going to turn around. They're all going to turn around and do the same thing. They're going to hide the books because they're going to say all this revenue is not baseball related. And all the baseball related revenue comes in. They said, oh, we lose all this money. Take a look here. We can't afford anything. But if you really want to think about it, they can afford it all.
Hal made $6 billion last year in gross income. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't think he's crying about it. I think he can turn the lights on in every stadium that he owns.
You could feed
Hank-
all the
Hank- I'll
homeless
be
in
all
this
right.
country on the money he made.
See, you say that, Mark, but you know what? He's still gonna cry because that's all he does.
I know he is. Whatever.
He's a businessman. A business.
Is he though?
Man.
Oh,
He
he's
wanted
gonna cry
lower the
about it.
luxury tax
He's trying to
$180 million.
He's gonna cry himself to sleep about paying Judge tonight. Or next year whenever we do pay him. And cry me a river.
yes, and his pillowcase is full of $100 bills.
I wish George would just come back and haunt him like Jacob Marley. Help! You need to spend money.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to. I can't do that.
No,
Daddy.
God. Anyway, so the Hall of Fame was a complete travesty this year.
Jeez, don't get me started. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of the. There's baseball writers that I respect, like Jeff Passan, obviously
Brian
Ken
Hoke.
Rosenthal, because we went on it. Brian Hoke also, like people we've backed up before, but these guys that turn around and they will send in a ballot for one person should have their votes removed. They need to get their votes removed. People who turn around, they don't want to publicize their votes. They need their votes removed. They need to baseball should never have this. They should not have the hit king out of the Hall of Fame. They should not have the home run hitter, the home run leader out of the Hall of Fame. Guy who won multiple Cy Youngs. I think he won Roger Clemens won the most Cy Youngs.
Roger Clemens has most Cy Youngs.
Yeah, he's not, and he's not in the Hall of
Fame.
Fame. And two of them, Bonds and Clemens, because they were linked to steroids. Yet David Ortiz was linked to steroids, was in the Mitchell report, and tested positive on the 2003 testing that came, anonymous testing. Yet
But hold
nobody
up,
cared.
wait. Remember, what did Manfred do? Oh, we can include that one. Big Poppy, and we can include that one into our report. No. There's some falses on that paper.
And
Yeah.
I get what people are saying about the anonymous ballots, but I see the other side of it too. Some fans are loco, bro. Some fans have sent these baseball writers death threats for people that they did or did not vote for. So I can see why some of them do anonymous ballots, but at the same time, it should be out there for the public to see. So I can see both sides of the argument. Do I agree with both sides of the argument? Not really, but I know why it's done.
Yeah, and sadly, I don't see that when Clemens and Bonds, when they make it to the Veterans Committee. I don't see the Veterans Committee even passing them either, because let's be real. Remember, you're still going to have old-time players. No, you're going to still have old-time players, and you still have writers involved into it. And the old-timers, they are more against the PEDs than even the writers are.
But
So-
the players that are going to be voting for Clemens, Bonds, Sosa, all these guys are people that played against them.
But so think about it. Oh, I never liked Clemens. I'm never going to vote him in. Oh, I never liked Bonds. I'm never going to vote him in. That's still going to happen. Let's be real.
I don't see some of the animosity that was there during their playing days coming into what is going on now. I just don't.
No, I don't think so either. And even you take all the numbers. They said Bonds was taking steroids after the 98 season. You take all of his numbers from 98 and go to the beginning of his career, it's same or better than Kirby Puckett, who's in the Hall of Fame. So therefore, he's a Hall of Famer. Same with Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens' numbers before, say, 97, I think everyone's thinking 97 or 98, same right around the same amount of time. Same thing. You take all those numbers, he's a Hall of Famer. There is no reason why either one of them shouldn't be in there. If you want to turn around and blackball them from playing baseball, or not playing, but if you want to blackball them from baseball, you should blackball them. Who cares? But those guys should be in the Hall of Fame, and there should be a friggin' huge era saying the 90s to early 2000s, this was the era, and these are the poster boys. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, Clemens, everybody else in there. Everybody should be in there. Ken Caminiti,
Well,
he was
what
all those guys
annoys
should be in there.
me-
And the writers doing this stuff is ridiculous, man. I'm tired of those guys. They need to get their asses out of there. They need to make way for everybody else who actually wants baseball to move forward, because they're holding this game back.
What annoys me with this whole thing is all the nonsense about Piazza before he got in. all the rumors about him that were unfounded. Yet Piazza's still in the Hall of Fame because he was allegedly tied to this whole era, and there must have been something going on. Yet somehow Piazza ends up in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, just think about it for a minute, though, okay? Like, you legitimately have, it's not even Piazza. You could go back even further. We legitimately have people who are in the Hall of Fame that were abusing their wives. We have people in the Hall of Fame that were on drugs, known for all that stuff. And this guy was beating his wife. He's allowed in. This guy, he was on acid. Hey, let him be in the Hall of Fame. It's okay. But they were on steroids. This guy gambled. No. But he could gamble yet. DraftKings or something else like that. They're going to promote that on MLB. Like, come on, let's be real. The Hall of Fame is a sham now. Like, it really is. Okay, you have writers that are doing it that they're going to hold grudges. Like, let's be real. Kurt Schilling. I'm not a Kurt Schilling fan, but the man should be in the Hall of Fame too. Okay, and he's only out. Why? Why is he not in there? Because of what he's tweeted. That doesn't have anything to do with when he was playing. That was after his game time. Like, he did stuff that he deserves to be in there.
Yeah, Kurt Schilling did a lot of like kind of messed up things to the writers in terms of his tweets. Like, he threatened writers. He's really not a good guy when it comes to like politics. Well, at least I don't agree with his politics. And what he said to writers is kind of messed up.
He ripped the state of Rhode Island off for $75 million for his video game company that he defaulted on. So everybody in New England hates him for that. He almost single-handedly drove the state of Rhode Island into bankruptcy because of us having to pick up the tab for his failed video game company endeavor.
I mean, the state of Rhode Island is so small. Like, is it really a state though?
Hey, man. Hey.
It's just as much of a state as Delaware. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
It's true. Thanks.
And Kurt Schilling still won 200 games in the big leagues. He was a great postseason performer. But I kind of want to go back to today's committee, talking about that because guys like Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, the contemporaries to Bonds, the contemporaries to Clemens, they knew that Bonds and Clemens were the best players they ever saw. And I think everybody in that era is saying that.
Great interview.
Yeah. He said guys who were on it before deserve to be in. Who were Hall of Famers before, they took roids, deserve to be in. So that screams Bonds, that screams Clemens. So Bonds deserves to be. And I think all overall, this is just a black eye for baseball. Like, to have, like Mark was saying at the top of the segment, to have the top hit king, the all-time Cy Young leader, the all-time MVP leader, to not be in the Hall of Fame is blasphemous. It's unfortunate.
What drives me nuts is that 85% of the league at that time period was on something.
Hey guys,
The
hold on
playing
for a minute.
field was level.
Don't forget though. Bud Selig's in the Hall of Fame, and he's the one who started the steroids. Yeah.
Man.
We're allowed to have him
Exactly.
in there.
Bud Selig was the one who turned around and he benefited the most. Benefited from Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, knowing all the things that they were doing. I mean, Mark McGwire had the Andro right behind him in his locker room at all times. Guess what? He's there loving every minute of it because it brought baseball back. But then the minute that Barry Bonds went after Hank Aaron's record, that's when Selig flipped on everybody. You can't have Barry Bonds going after Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron used to take greenies, which is, guess what? Those are illegal also. You know? Yeah, exactly. You know, you had Ty Cobb, who had all the stories of him being a racist. He was one of the first ones in the Hall of Fame too. I mean, let's be real. These writers hold grudges. They don't know the players that well that they're voting for, and they're going to go by whatever the hearsay is that's out there. It shouldn't be that way. You should have more of their contemporaries should be the ones telling you what is and what isn't. You know, if it's one thing to sit down and say, like, you know, like Jason Giambi, it doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. Okay, that's fine. Mark Teixeira doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. Okay, that's fine. Everybody who sat and watched Barry Bonds play knew that he was the best hitter and the best fielder and the best player in baseball through the 90s. The only one that could say that it was right on par with him was Ken Griffey Jr. That's it. Nobody else could say that. During the 80s and during the 90s, one of the best pitchers, if not the only pitchers that could say that they were on the top of the game with Roger Clemens, probably Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
Maybe Randy Johnson towards the end of that as well. That's, Greg Maddux was Greg Maddux. He was in a different caliber than the rest of them. All those guys were power pitchers. Greg Maddux could just paint the corners all day long.
Mhm.
So I mean, Greg Maddux was in a completely different genre than those guys. Power pitchers: Clemens, Pedro, Randy Johnson. Give me those guys all day long. All three belong in the Hall of Fame. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. I blame the writers. I think that they're morons. I don't think that they should be. They should have the be all and end all for this whole thing.
They're not all morons.
No,
No,
the ones that can't get their heads out of their asses and turn around and stick to what they're voting for. Like, people weren't voting for A-Rod. And Manny Ramirez. They both had suspensions. I'm fine with that. Okay, you got caught, even though you got caught doing steroids or PEDs. You got your suspension. You don't want to get voted in. I understand that. Guess what Bonds and Clemens didn't do? They never tested positive. They were still playing during that time frame when there was the anonymous test.
Clemens went to court. He legitimately went to court and won. Like, why? Why?
He was acquitted.
We're not going to let Barry. We're not going to.
He was acquitted by a federal jury.
Yeah, we're not going to let Clemens in. Why? Oh, because he didn't talk to us right. He was mean talking to me. My feelings are hurt. I don't like that. Come on. Get the stick out of your you-know-what.
They said the same thing about Barry Bonds and saying how mean he was to the media, but, I'm sure his teammates didn't like him
I'd
either.
be mean to people,
But
too,
come
if
on,
my
man.
name was getting
Use
dragged
your
through the mud
eyes.
every day, like his. Man, I'd be mean, too.
Come on.
And like people are gonna act like they were just mean to Bonds when the steroids. Let's be real. They were being mean to Bonds even when he was in Pittsburgh. Okay, they were mean to him there, and then he leaves there, goes over to San Fran. Okay, still no, he was doing he was already on the Hall of Fame space in over there. Then he goes to San Fran, is doing crazy numbers over there. Okay, crazy numbers, and then he's seeing, look at Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Oh, the field's not even anymore. Okay, I'm gonna juice it up too. And now then see what he does. Like, I don't blame the guy. Like,
That was great.
if you're playing back then and you're like, well, it's not an even ball game anymore. Let me do what everybody else is doing. I understand it. I get it. I would have done it too. I'll be honest.
Barry Bonds looked at two subpar players and then said, if they're getting all these accolades, I'm going to show you what a real baseball player and the top baseball player does. Let me just get that much better. And he did HGH, which makes your eyesight. So Steve Phillips talked one morning on MLB radio. He said that doctors came in and talked to the GMs and a lot of other people in baseball. They said this is what HGH does for you. Not only does it get you stronger in recovery and everything else, and the head, it grows everything else. It grows your head, it grows your feet. But he said it makes your eyesight better. So if you want to say it's been a performance enhancing for your eyesight, you take Barry Bonds, whose eyesight was great already, and make it even better to understand the pitches because he saw the seams really well. That's what's happening. So it doesn't matter. He was a Hall of Famer beforehand. Put the damn man in there. Put Roger Clemens in there. Hell, put Curt Schilling in there because he does belong in there. Even though Curt Schilling seemed to have gotten a lot better after he hit 35 as well. So I mean,
when this is going to get really interesting is when these players from that 2017 and 2019 Astros teams are up for Hall of Fame election. And that's when you're really going to see the stuff hit the fan. It's when Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, Lance McCullers, and
George Springer,
Altuve, Springer, all of them are eligible for the Hall. Is when you're really going to see the stuff hit the rotating oscillator.
F them all.
It's starting next year. Carlos Beltran is on the ballot next year.
The only one out of that
there's already talk of him being penalized for that.
The only one from that list of players eligible for the 2020, was it 22 or 23 Hall of Fame? I forget how they number it because the election happened in January of this year. But the only one I see off that list, Francisco Rodriguez. That's it. Honestly.
Beltran's a Hall of Famer. Even
I know,
even
but with him being tied to everything, but you look at
Yeah.
the rest of the list, Jacoby Ellsbury, people like
No.
that. Like,
No.
really?
Even Francisco
But
Rodriguez. I mean,
Frankie,
he fell off hard after he had the most saves in a
He
single
fell off
season.
when he went to the Mets.
Yep, 62.
Yeah, he had 62, and then he just went
Yeah.
right off the deep end. And
He's
then
always
you talk about
He's not a
character flaws,
first
then
ballot
his
Hall of
character
Famer.
flaws is going to come into effect too, because
No, I'm not
wasn't he-
saying he's a first ballot. I'm just saying out of that class of people eligible, the only one I think makes it off that list for voting a second year is K-Rod.
that's still
You don't
my
think
opinion.
Beltran's a Hall of Famer? Oh
Just
wow, no, he's a Hall of Famer. I don't have his stats or anything like that, but when I saw Carlos Beltran, I knew off the bat that he was a 5'2" player, had the power, switch hitter, elite defensive center fielder. I think he has over 400 homers. He's won the World Series, albeit a tainted one, but he still has it.
That's what's
And,
going to ruin
I
it
don't
for
know.
him
I think
because
they're
he
going
was
to
the
overlook that stuff.
ringleader. He was the ringleader of that sign stealing scandal in 2017. That's what keeps him out of the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah.
it's going to keep A-Rod out of the Hall of Fame for having 162 game suspension, the longest in MLB history.
Are we talking about him just because he got hired by
Oh.
Yes? Like, I don't want to talk about
Yeah.
this guy. Like, really?
So Danny, this is what you were saying before. Carlos Beltran had a career of 435 home runs, had a career hits of 2,725 hits, 1,587 for runs batted in, and had an average of 279. That is his average. Well, those are his averages for his career, playing for Kansas City Royals, the Astros, Mets, Giants, Cardinals, Yankees, Rangers, and Houston.
What's his OPS plus?
You have to ask me that stuff, man.
And what's his blank?
Nerd.
What's his black ink? What's his Hall of Fame score? I'm about to look all this up right now.
Oh
Hold on.
my gosh. Great. Nerd alert.
Because,
nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Let's do it. I'm all for it. Hey, speaking of nerd alert, want to hear a really interesting stat?
All right,
What's
here we
that?
go. Here's some.
Garner
Oh,
has-
Danny, here's some extra things for you. He had 312 stolen
Okay.
bases for his career. He had an OBP of 350. He had a slugging of 486. His fielding percentage was 986.
Pretty
Okay.
good.
3-time Gold Glover, Rookie of the Year,
Mhm.
9-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. All right, so Brett Garner leads all of left fielders all time in defensive WAR. So you could argue that Brett Garner is one of the best defensive left fielders ever.
Danny,
And
you're
it's
going
not
to
even
have
by-
all
he
the
leads by a
Brett
long
Gardner
shot.
haters coming at you, my brother.
That's fine. They could, So for center fielders, Carlos Beltran ranks 9th all time in terms of like Hall of Fame stats. His career WAR, his 7-year peak, Jaws. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer for me. Despite all the character clause stuff, and I think the writers, it's crazy how can we say like are they soft? Are they just what are they doing? Are they really being critical thinkers, or are they just following the herd? It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And there's guys that send in blank ballots. Like those guys need to be. They can't be voting. They should never
That's
be
my
voting.
rant right there. That is my rant. Why are you putting one person there? There's one guy who put in what the hell is his name? I think he put in like Jeff Kenner or something like that because he grew up next to him. He said, "Oh, if I ever get the chance, I'm going to vote for you." That's the only person he voted for. One person. Why do you have a vote? Why are you doing this?
While this is going on, everybody, remember, if you want to get all you Brett Garner haters, if you want to get Danny, go ahead and at Danny the Muchacho. Okay, add him there on his Twitter. That's how you get him.
Yeah. Send Danny all the Brett Gardner
Just go to
haters.
Baseball Reference. Just go to Baseball Reference. Look up left fielders. All right. Go to Hall of Fame stats. Look up D WAR. Brett Garner is number 1 all time. 12.6 WAR defensively. It's ridiculous. That's more than Barry Bonds.
Listen.
Who has
I got
7.6, and come on.
As I repeat, at Danny the Muchacho.
I got a couple.
He
of
loves
alibis about
interacting
this
with
Hall
all of his
Fame.
Twitter followers.
I got a couple of alibis
Love
about
it.
this Hall of
Bring
Fame.
it.
So with Clemens, that's not right. I found some interesting things on him. He was a 2-time pitching Triple Crown winner, 1986 AL MVP, 7-time ERA title, pitcher, and most Cy Youngs of all time, 7. 4,672 strikeouts, third all time behind Johnson and Nolan Ryan. So, I mean, that's pretty sick. You got Bonds with 514 career stolen bases, 7 MVPs, 8 gold gloves, 12-time Silver Slugger, 14-time All-Star, and a 2-time batting champion. Put the man where he belongs, please. Get your stuff together. And can we just talk about Todd Hilton for a second? Todd Hilton had a career 316 batting average. His road batting average was 285. Throw that man some love too. And Omar Vizquel, almost 3,000 hits, 11-time Gold Glove, 404 stolen bases. Get real. He belongs there too. And Pettit, like I can't say enough about Pettit. 5-time world champion, 19 postseason wins, most all time. Thankfully, he's still on the ballot. Danny, unfortunately, thankfully, we don't have to worry about Mark Teixeira because he's not coming back. He got 1 vote this year. So,
yeah, man. So, a guy like Omar Vizquel, I'm really not. I agree with the voters there. I feel like character clause for that guy really comes into play. But
I mean, if it's true, then yes.
I like
screw him.
Scott Rowland.
Hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. I like Scott Rowland a lot.
Yeah.
I was looking at his stuff. He's top 10 third baseman all time in terms of WAR, in terms of his defensive metrics. He's one of the best third basemen ever defensively. Like that. Whenever I saw Scott Rowland play third, I'm like, oh, that's an out. Like there's a ground ball at third, and Scott Rowland's playing, it's an out. You know, it doesn't matter if it's going to his right or to his left. He had an accurate arm. He had power. The only thing with Scott that people could hold against him was his health.
Yeah.
So, but when I saw Scott Rowland, I thought he was a legit dude. And where's he at right here in the 63%? So you can see within the next 3 years, Scott Rowland's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Well, now that Barry Bonds and Clemens and Sosa aren't taking everybody's votes, I think you'll see Rowland's numbers possibly shoot up next year. And going back
same
to
with Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones' numbers will pop up too because Andrew Jones should have been there 100%.
And going back to the character clause, like I'm cool with it if you're like a felon and committed a crime and it's been proven in a court of law that so be it. But like if there's just allegations of certain stuff floating around out there that are still unfounded and it's just nonsense and noise, then that's not cool. But,
all these guys, they're not listen, it's like football, it's like hockey, it's like basketball. They're sports players. They got egos, they got everything else. They're not, they're not Boy Scouts. They're gonna be doing stupid things. Everyone doesn't come from, picture perfect homes. They don't come from the best neighborhoods that they could grow up in. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Well, what Vizquel was accused of doing is a little bit more severe than beating your wife. Just saying.
Well, yes, no, I understand that. But what I'm also saying is that there's plenty of other people along the way that have been accused of a lot of things, and they've still gotten it. I'm not. You're right. I think that if the accusations are true, they got to get the boot. You know what I mean?
And then Billy Wagner, 6th all time on the saves list.
He's a Hall of Famer.
422 saves. So 1,300 strikeouts, 11 Ks per 9 innings.
It's like the one thing that,
and it's in a time where Ks.
That's coming from the left side. He was Mo Rivera, the closest thing to Mariano from the left side.
From the left side
before Chapman showed up.
The one thing I do have to say though, like these people that we're talking about, yes, they're not in the Hall of Fame, but parts, at least the good ones. Mark, no, sorry, Mark, you're never gonna be there. But all the good ones, like they have something in there. Like, let's be real. Okay, Bonds is back. Kurt Schilling's sock, like that's in the Hall of Fame. So their plaque is not there, but they have something in there that at least we know
that if their plaque isn't good enough to be there, why should their stuff be good enough to be there?
Because it's still history. That's the history room, and then you got.
It's the same thing.
What they need to do, what I believe that they should do, though, for like this scenario, is if they tested positive for PEDs. We got gambling. What do? Just put in the bottom in there and like some parentheses or an asterisk or something like that. Like this person is suspended from baseball for life due to gambling, or this person while he was playing tested positives for PEDs or was playing during an era of PEDs. Maybe not saying he did it, but maybe he was in an era. Something like that. At least that way it could be like, okay, kids could understand 100 years from now, 200 years from now, while this sport's still going on.
I'm just surprised they didn't apply
And
the
it's
character
important.
clause to Mickey Mantle. He was a womanizer. He was a woman beater, an alcoholic,
Yeah.
and the guy still
Yeah.
made it to the Hall of Fame. But Clemens, sorry, my dude, you allegedly stuck a needle in yourself. We can't have you. But Mick, you're all right.
No. Clemens, you
No
were
disrespect to Mickey Mantle, by the way.
No. It's Clemens, you were mean to us in the locker room in Boston, in Toronto, and in New York. We don't like you no more. So we're not going to
Don't forget Houston also.
Uh-oh. What? No, I was talking about Houston. Sorry. I'd never say that. It's that city.
So, yeah, Hall of Fame, it is what it is. Hopefully the Veterans Committee takes care of these guys and straightens some stuff out that these writers can't straighten out. Like me, honestly, I kind of wholeheartedly wonder if half of these younger writers even saw some of these guys play. So that's just that. But let's get into these polls, man. Like, we had some really good polls this week, had some really good support from fans on Twitter and whatnot. And if you're not responding to these polls, you should, because they're a lot of fun and it helps us gauge where the fan base is at to create content for the show. So those of you that participate, good job on you. First poll: who is your favorite non-core four Yankee growing up? The options were Paul O'Neill, Tino Martinez, Don Mattingly, Bernie Williams. 115 votes total on this one. Paul O'Neill got 24%, Tino Martinez 10%, Bernie Williams 30%, and Don Mattingly wins the vote at 36%. Donnie just doing his thing. Another guy should be in the Hall of Fame.
Woo!
Second poll.
Donnie!
Yeah, Donnie for president, right? Next poll: who had the coolest nickname? Hideki Matsui with Godzilla, Paul O'Neill with the Warrior, David Boomer Wells, El Duque Hernandez. So Boomer, sorry, Mr. Wells, but you got 6%, sharing that with Paul O'Neill, which is kind of weird. Hideki Matsui came in at 38%, and El Duque wins that poll at 50%, 16 votes total. Get those votes up. I want to see these votes improve by 5% by next week. Next one: which player traded for / traded away in the last 20 years has upset you the most, and why? And I mean, man, I thought this one was going to pop off, honestly, but it didn't. It only got 11 votes. So the options were Jeff Weaver in 2002, traded for. Orlando Hernandez, traded away in 2003. Andrew Heaney, traded for in 2021. And Luis Sessa got traded away, unfortunately, in 2021. So Jeff Weaver got 9% of the vote. I guess a lot of Yankees fans these days have kind of forgotten about Jeff Weaver. If you don't know who Jeff Weaver was, he was traded for during the 2002-2003 season. It was a three-way deal between the Yankees, the Athletics, and the Tigers. The Athletics got Ted Lilly. The Yankees got Jeff Weaver, and the Detroit Tigers got a box of baseballs, I believe. Andrew Heaney, another one I thought was going to get a lot of the vote, got 27%. We all know what happened with him, the dumpster fire that had that one good game against Boston down the stretch. But other than that, it was a total loss. He got 27% of the vote. Luis Sessa, my dude, got 19%. But Orlando Hernandez, being traded to the Montreal Expos in 2003, got 45% of the vote. So at least you know El Duque is still popular with the fan base. With Roger Clemens not making it to the Hall of Fame, we decided to give Roger a shout out on Twitter. Love you, Rocket. What was your favorite at Roger Clemens moment at Yankee Stadium? Options were George's Box 5-6, 2007, when he surprised us all with coming back. The 10-14-2000, Game 4, ALCS one-hitter. October 27th, 1999, first World Series. June 13th, 2003, 300th career win against the St. Louis Cardinals. So 300th career win came in last place at 5%. George's Box, third place at 17%. First World Series at 28%. And the Game 4 ALCS one hitter in 2000 got 50%. Wins that vote, 18 votes.
Hey, Dave.
I'm surprised we didn't do the roid rage of game 2?
Yeah,
Game 2 in
Game
the World
2.
Series.
Oh, yeah.
That
That was But
Yeah,
Susan
man.
Waldman going nuts when he was in George's box. Roger
Oh,
Clemens
dude.
is in
Oh,
George's
yeah, she was having a
box.
stroke.
I was
she's
at
having
that.
a
I was
stroke,
at
man.
that game. I was
Yeah,
sitting in the
yeah.
stands at that game.
That's
Oh,
cool. All right,
the whole
moving
Can
on.
you
stadium
believe it?
erupted during that. The stadium erupted
Yeah.
when they showed it.
Harry came and got me out of Texas. I was like, what? Dude, do you remember all the press conferences he had over those 3 years where he was just, where's Roger gonna go? And you're like at the press conference, they have the Astros hat, the Red Sox hat, the Blue Jays hat, the Yankees hat, all sitting there in front of him. It's like, what is this, a college signing day? Like, oh, so annoying.
I love Susan. I can't wait to hear it, call
I
games. But
was kind of
Man.
partial to Charlie Steiner myself, man. I was upset when
Charlie was
went
good.
to the
Yeah,
Dodgers.
Charlie was
I
good.
think when we're done tonight, I'm gonna go look for that and listen to that tonight.
On repeat.
I mean, Charlie Steiner's call of Aaron Boone's home run in 03 was just incredible. You know,
It was.
And now the fans
Ball
say
hit
the
deep
same
to
thing
left.
Boston calls him.
yeah, that's true. All right, so which Yankee would win in a foot race? This one got interesting. The options were Brett Gardner, Aaron Judge, Joey Gallo, Gleyber Torres. So Gleyber comes in at 4%. In last place, Aaron Judge, third place at 9%. Joey Gallo in second place at 17%. And my dude, Brett Gardner at 70% with 23 votes. Get those votes up. How do you feel
Greatest
about the Hall of
defensive left
Fame
fielder of all
voting?
time.
Yeah, Danny. We'll let you handle that. We'll let you be the president of the Brett Gardner fan club on that one.
And remember, you can always tweet him at Danny the Muchacho on Twitter.
Yeah, Danny
Tell 'em how
at
you
the
think.
Muchacho on Twitter. Yeah, tell him how you feel.
Bring
Hashtag
it.
Ask
Bring
Muchachos.
it. I'm going to just screenshot it and show everybody.
So this was when the Hall of Fame voting was going on. How did you feel about the Hall of Fame voting today? Of course, a few days ago. The options were disgusted and embarrassed. I feel like this should have just been one option because this is pretty much how everybody feels about it. So disgusted got 62% of the vote. Embarrassed got 38% of the vote with 34 votes. When will the CBA be finally signed? 47% say before spring training. You know, the 53% Debbie Downer, Jubin Glooners say before opening day. Whatever. I'm hoping for
They're
spring
not
training.
Debbie Downers. They're truthful. You're
Whatever,
over here, be like,
man.
oh,
Whatever.
I'm optimistic, man.
So the other curious thing is where's Gleyber Torres going to be batting in the lineup come opening day? Options were 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 9 on the bench or traded. Damn, some hate coming Gleyber's way on this one.
Traded.
11% said lead off to third spot in the order. 21% say 4 through 6. 26% say on the bench or traded. And the majority have spoken at 42% with batting 7 through 9. I can see that. I can see them burying him in the lineup.
Yeah, that's probably where he's going. I thought that's where he's going to be.
I will follow our
yeah.
polls, and I will say yes. Do not trade him.
Thank you, Alex.
This one we thought was going to get some real hate attention. 21 votes on this one. Which postseason loss stung the worst? Against the Diamondbacks in the 2001 World Series, then Florida Marlins 2003 World Series, 2004 ALCS to the Red Sox, or the 2017-2019 ALCS against Houston. I really thought the 17-19 ALCS was going to get all of the vote, but 10% said the Marlins World Series in 03. 28% said the 17 and 19 ALCS against Houston. 29% said the 04 ALCS against the Red Sox, but the majority vote of 33% goes to the 2001 World Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I 100%
Those are the
agree.
polls of the week.
No, Dave, I'm going to say I 100% agree
yeah.
with everybody on that one. Because guess what? After 9/11, everybody wanted the Yankees to win. That is the reason why I was going to win it. 9/11. I wanted them to win so bad. It was like, it was fate, and then Arizona decided to take fate out of our hands, and I was so
all Joe
angry.
Torre had to do, and I love Joe Torre to death, man. He's like, I look at him as like the grandfather of the Yankees. That's how I envisioned him my whole childhood watching the Yankees with him as a skipper, man. And it's just like if Derek Jeter was just back just about 5 feet, he would have dropped back and caught that boot single from Luis Gonzalez, and the game could have taken a different toll.
Yeah. So that World Series, I cried after we lost.
I did. I did too.
Yeah. 9/11 was just extremely difficult for everybody. And when Soriano hit that homer in the 8th off of Kurt
you
Schilling
thought
off
it was
the
a wrap.
splitter.
The game was 4-2. You know,
Yep.
going to the bottom of the top of the ninth, or bottom of the ninth with Mo coming on. But like for me, like all of these hit in a different way. Like 2017 hurt because they weren't supposed to be there. Then they got there, and then it was just like having the rug ripped out from underneath you. But then like the 2019 World Series, the 2019 ALCS, I'm TDY in Alaska, and the game's going the wrong way. DJ comes up and hits that game-tying home run on the top of the ninth, just to have it all fall apart like 10 minutes later with Altuve hitting that walk-off. And I was just like, bro, like, are you serious? Like, I was pissed for like 3 days after that.
I get you. But now look at this. Okay, for me, it's 2001. It's my senior year of high school. I'm getting ready to graduate. I'm like, grand, it's gonna be the year. The Yankees are in the postseason again. Okay, 9/11's happened. Positive. Oh, we're doing our job. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we're in the World Series. Yay, this is going to take away all the sadness that happened to the city in 9/11. And then, yeah, thanks a lot, Arizona.
It didn't help that the game before that they get rocked 15 to 1,
15-1,
15-2.
15-1.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. But it's still, like as a New Yorker, it hurts. It hurts so much.
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was in college. That was my senior year of college. I was in the Bronx during that time, and watching everything. That whole series was everything we all were going through back then, man. It was all just roller coasters, Even to this day, 9/11 to me that day is still a roller coaster for me, because I still remember everything from that like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But for them to win that game and to win that series, that should have been there. And for some reason in the back of my head, I always say I don't blame Joe Torre for bringing the infield in. I always blame Scott Brocious for not turning the double play. There was a double play he could have made, and he should have made the double play. Instead, he just threw to first base instead of going to second. It was just that a simple play should have been made, and he didn't make it. And that's what I foresee.
Because you know what the thinking was? Not that I'm defending Brocious for making that boneheaded play, but the train of thought was Mariano's on the mound. What could possibly happen?
No, I get you, but why not get the easy outs? Get the double play, get the easy outs.
Yeah, get the outs.
Mariano's get the extra out. Make sure his job was easy to continue forward.
The head scratcher to me was when he tried to pick off Womack at second base and he threw it in the center field. I was like, what is going on right now? I was like, dude.
And that's why Torre had the infield in, because when Womack was at third, Mo gets soft contact with that cutter with Luis Gonzalez up. You're not expecting hard contact with Mo, with lefty up there against Mo. So that I understand Torre's thinking with that. And 2001 was just like Mark was saying, it was a roller coaster. I was in 6th grade at the time, and I still remember that game.
Danny, you're making me feel old, brother.
Yeah, I'm the baby. Sorry. So
who's your daddy?
But this is 20 years ago,
Danny,
and I still remember the inning. Yeah. So, I still remember that inning from 20 years ago. I don't remember the 2019 ALCS. I try to blank it out, but that 2001 ALCS has the most impact on my life as a baseball fan. So there's nothing that tops that. Even 2004, which was terrible.
There was not enough alcohol on this planet to numb me from 2019. That's for sure.
And ladies and gentlemen, before we end this tonight, let me just ask you guys, please, if you are listening to us on Apple, rate us and subscribe to us. And 5 stars it. And remember, we're also on Linktree at Bronx Muchachos. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.